Most of the time when you're racing, you hear the driver's point of view, but this time we're going to get the real story. We're going to find out from a crew member what racing is really like here in the pits. Sometimes it is the pits, and we're talking with Billy the Kid Newton, who is one of the chief mechanics for the Shane Carson racing team. First of all, Billy, how many years have you been with Shane Carson?
Well, I started working with Shane back in, I guess, 1972, as I just used to go up to the shop and sweep the floor, actually, is how I started, I guess. And then worked with him through the modifieds and up through into Tulsa in 1974 through 76, where we did rather well in the point standings there, and he got noticed as a good driver. And then he went into supers, and I helped him locally through the supers. Then he started driving for Nance for a while, and I helped on that car here one time, and then quit working with him. Then went back to work with him in 1978 when he drove for Bob Trossel Racing. And that was his year that he had this big feature year. I think he won like 29 features that year.
Well, I think a lot of people who sit in the stands who have 8 to 5 jobs day after day after day would sit back and go, boy, being a crew member on a racing team, it's got to be exciting. You know, you get to see all these far places around the country. You get to travel quite a bit, but it can be really a grind, can't it?
Well, yeah, a typical day or an evening, you know, you work on the car all day, and you go to the racetrack that night and you race. And for instance, your next night of racing may be 400 to 500 miles from your present place. So you finish racing at midnight or so, get in the truck, drive, 6 or 8 hours, however far the distance is. Then you get some quick sleep, take a shower, and then you're back working on the car and back to the racetrack that night. And that's really the way it is. You see a lot of hotel parking lot, and that's really where we do most of our work, is on the hotel parking lot.
Well, I think a lot of things are interesting in the life of a mechanic. As you said, it's you must obviously take the share of the driving and so forth. It's not you just kind of sitting back and waiting to get from point A to point B.
Oh, yeah, all that comes into well, I've driven, 7, 8 hours straight on some trips where we gone 18 hours, and so does the rest of the people. We just 3 or 4 of us that go. But, yeah, there's just a lot of restless nights where sometimes you're just working on the car because you tore it up that night, and the only chance you got to fix it is like during the evening hours or late evening hours when everybody else is asleep. And kind of like Brad Doty's been doing at our shop lately. He's been burning the midnight oil to get his cars back together, and that's what it takes. And you just get back on the circuit, and you try to do your best the next night.
Well, I know you guys just came off a grueling 5-week stay outside of town, and that's really got to be tough on you, too. But it's not always all work. I hear you had a little bit of play along the Atlantic seaboard.
Well, yeah, we got a day or two off there, and mainly because of rain out. It rained out, and we got an extra day off, which we made up later. And we went down to Atlantic City and did a little gambling. As racers, they're kind of gamblers, too, but I didn't fare very well, so it was fun for a while.
Well, one thing, too, obviously the way you get paid, there's a certain setup that you would get paid. Do you sign a contract with Shane on a yearly basis, or how does that work?
Oh, no, it's just a verbal agreement, between he and I. What we've been, together for so long that that's the way it's always been between he and I. On your earlier question, I've worked with him the last 2 years on his race cars out of Oklahoma City. There was a little bit of a break in there. But, yeah, the pay is just on a verbal agreement, but it's good. We may put in 100 hours a week sometimes with driving time and all the other things involved, racetrack time working on the car. But, it's well worth it.
A lot of great racing drivers at one time were mechanics. Graham Hill, who won the world championship more than once, was a mechanic at one time. Do you ever have the itch to ever get behind the wheel of one of these cars?
Well, yeah, when I get to a point where I'm kind of financially stable enough, I'd like to get a race car, but you know as well as I do how expensive it is to break into. If I was ever to quit working or touring where I had some time to be local, I might, just even get a street stock or something like that to drive to have fun with. But, yeah, I've gotten the itch a lot, and I'm sure that maybe someday I'll get to drive one. I know how to set one up, so driving part, I just have to see how I do.
Well, we have completed the 4 heat races. Now we've moved into the B feature, and Gary, now we start getting down to the real nuts and bolts of racing here this afternoon and tonight.
This is really it. This is the last chance for these drivers to make it into the A feature, earn a starting spot, get in where really the bulk of the money is. There's payoffs in all the heats in the B feature, but it really is nothing compared to the feature. And if they don't do it here, it's trailer time and go home for another night. Lineup, it's going to be a 10-lap race. Inside the front row, number 4A from Memphis, Tennessee, it's Mike Ward. veteran of the local tracks up there. Run with the World of Outlaws some now and has had some very good showings. Outside, car number 56, hailing from Tulsa, dirt champ car driver. Splits his time between that and the sprint car ranks. Brand new car, just debuted a few nights ago, number 56, Terry Doss. Inside second row, one of the local drivers, really hoping to make it in tonight. Number 23 is Greg Woolley from Oklahoma City. Outside, number 12X, driving promoter Shane Carson's backup car, it's Rick Unger. Looked very, very strong during time trials, but had some trouble making a few passes during his heat. Be looking to make it in the feature here. Third row, car number 16, Ray Welnack, Dallas, and outside, number 28, Junior Parkinson. Inside the last row, number 8, Billy Crockett, and outside, 22J, Dave Bergman.
Thanks, Gary. As we take a look now, however, we don't see Greg Woolley out of Oklahoma City. Greg did not make the B feature. It looks like Greg is going to be scratched. That's a shame to all his fans who are out here tonight enjoying the racing action. There's a lot of Greg Woolley fans here. As Gary mentioned, we'll be going 10 times around the racetrack. The B feature, we look. As we get set for the start stand, they start slowly picking up the pace. Out of turn number 4, we've got the green. We look for Mike Ward grabbing the lead. As they go 3 abreast into turn number 1. Rick Unger trying to split the 3 as they go off into turn number 2. And grabbing it back at 56 is Terry Doss with the lead. There's Doss swinging it back into 3, into 4. Now Unger trying to move up in Shane Carson's spare car. He battles for second place. As we say, they go back into turns 1 and 2. We pick up the action 1, 2, and 3. It's car number 56, Terry Doss, in the lead. In second place is Rick Unger. And they come through one more time, turns 3 and 4. Doss in first, Unger in second. Mike Ward in third. In fourth is Junior Parkinson. And in fifth spot is Dave Bergman, who had problems earlier on. And now we've got the yellow out. The yellow flag is out. And again, it's car number 8, Billy Crockett. We've lost Crockett into between turns 1 and 2. And Billy Crockett for the 3rd time this evening. We have a problem up on turns 1 and 2. And everything comes down slowly to a standstill. Good shot there as he's up against the wall. Great shot there. Billy Crockett, he's seen a lot of attention tonight, a lot of slowing up of the racing.
Third time's not a charm for Billy here tonight. Just nothing is going right. Race is being run off in real rapid fashion tonight. Maybe Billy just really didn't have time in between the races to make all the adjustments that he really wanted to get done to the car. So just a tough, tough night for Billy.
That's a good point, Gary. You know, a lot of times people will automatically think that it's a driver problem, but many times it's a chassis setup problem, that a driver may not have a chance to adjust the car for the particular track and the particular conditions.
Billy's probably the epitome of the little time racer. Tows the car himself, does all the work on it himself. Sometimes even shows up the track by himself. Needs somebody standing around the pits to help push the car to get it ready. So it's when you're doing everything that way, it just all the problems just multiply and makes it that much tougher to really run up towards the front.
Well, the fans give Billy Crockett a cheer as he starts to head back on out. And we'll see if Crockett, he decides to opt to go back into the paddock area. The fans cheer as Billy Crockett has left the race course. I guess the fans want the action to pick up. We'll see what happens here. They come out of 3 and 4. Terry Doss out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Car number 56. They get the green. We come around one more time in a speed feature. That is Rick Unger out of Memphis, Tennessee, trying to move in on car number 56, Terry Doss. Doss has the lead. Unger trying to nip at his tail a little bit. And in third place, it's Mike Ward. Ward out of Memphis, Tennessee. So you've got 2 Tennesseans going 2 and 3. But it's the Tulsa native in the front. Terry Doss continues to swing through 2 and 3. With Unger in second. Mike Ward in third. Car number 28, Junior Parkinson, in fourth. And finally, coming up last is 22J, Dave Bergman out of Amarillo. Now it's Doss hugging on as he continues Continues through 2 and 3. Unger starting to stretch his way a little bit farther from the third place man, Mike Ward. On the leader one more time, it's Terry Doss from Tulsa swinging that car through turn number 4. Goes past the start-finish line with Rick Unger right behind. We've got yellow. We've got a problem out on the track. We've got a problem out on the racetrack. And it looks like it's up on turn number 3. Right on the light pole of turn number 3, we've got a problem. And it's car number 22J, Dave Bergman out of Amarillo. So they rush over to see the problem with Bergman. And there's an excellent shot of Bergman up near the light pole. Hopefully, Gary, he didn't hit that as he was making his way into turn number 3.
Tough to tell here. He's got a wing sort of has been at an odd angle, but I think David probably didn't hit it. Doesn't look like he made that hard of contact. If he did, he may have just sort of slid into it when he went through the corner.
Well, I think one track heading off into the infield.
So far this year, we've had an incredibly safe season on the World of Outlaws. We've yet to have a driver that's been anything more than just a minor bruise or something from hitting a wall or something like that. No serious injuries. Nobody really taken to the hospital or with anything major. And it's been a combination of things. Drivers drive hard and all, but yet they put the proper safety equipment on. They wear the proper safety equipment. And in the long run, the results show.
You know, and I think too, Gary, that if there is a situation on a track that needs immediate attention and a driver who sees that maybe another driver could be seriously injured, I know myself that it's a strange reaction in your stomach when you see something like this. And don't kid yourself if you don't think these drivers have some kind of feelings, because they want everybody as in good a shape as anybody.
Well, on top of being fierce competitors back and forth, these guys are friends. They literally live with each other about 8 months a year. They travel together. They stay in the same motels. They know their families and all. And so while they're really fierce competitors and they'll really be ready to go tooth and nail, they want to all come across the checkered flag, take the checkered flag, go home, and talk about the races afterwards. And it's a family type of situation, and it's in several cases, the drivers are out without a wife. Their wife has to stay back home. Their children are back home. So this is their family, and it's one big group and just touring the nation.
Well, we get a chance to see the cars as they start going back onto the half-mile circuit. And we have completed 5 laps thus far in this B feature. They're scheduled 10 laps as they start to stretch out onto the back straight. In the lead, it's Tulsa native Terry Doss. Quickly behind is Rick Unger, who's got a rental ride with Shane Carson. Unger out of Memphis, Tennessee. The first top 2 will go into the A feature, so they'll battle right to the finish. And the green comes down, and Terry Doss holding on to the lead. Unger trying to move right up behind. Cars number 3 and 4 on the racetrack. Mike Ward starts to drop back a tad. And with him is Kansas City native Junior Parkinson, 3 and 4, but we watch the battle up front. And coming around as we see Terry Doss holding on to the lead. Rick Unger doing whatever he can to try to move up and grab that first place position. Doss now starting to stretch it out on Unger. Doss comes through cleanly out of turn number 3 and 4, coming down the main straight. The white flag comes out. We've got one more lap to go. So Doss in first place. In second is Unger. In third is Mike Ward. And coming up in last right now as we look down the leaderboard, it's Junior Parkinson. Here's Doss coming through for the last time on the checkered lap. He takes the checkered flag. In second place will be rental ride driver Rick Unger. And those 2 drivers will make their appearance into the A feature, which will be coming up right after this race. And Gary, to sum things up, it was pretty much of a standstill once the leaders sorted themselves off into the first turn, and they pretty well stuck to their positions.
Doss is, like I said, this is a fairly new car. He's having some little problems with it that most of the other guys had early in the year, but he, as evidence from that race, there were no problems whatsoever. Rick Unger driving the 3rd different car on as many different nights. He's an extremely versatile driver, and he's doing a good job with Shane Carson's backup car. Both of them into the feature.
Hats off to Rick Unger being able to jump into a strange car and going quickly enough to get into the A feature. We'll be getting set for that right after this. We'll be back from the Fairgrounds Speedway right after this.